Hi there, everybody. This is Lee, and I just wanted to say that in a previous video, I spoke of the floods in Louisiana and the response by media and viewers in North America and some of the presidential candidates. Jill Stein has arrived to Louisiana. She was there this past weekend, Sunday and then Monday. And then today is Tuesday, August 23rd, and she's due to be at the National Press Club to tell people there what she saw and her views of what's happening on the ground in Louisiana and the ways the rest of the North American community can lend assistance to the people in Louisiana. She was also on the ground to lend assistance. The governor made a statement. He released a press his own memo saying, like, please don't come here just to take pictures. If you're going to come here to Louisiana, please help. Be prepared to help and not serve as a distraction. Don't create problems for us here in Louisiana. Create solutions if you're coming to Louisiana. And so Donald Trump brought his semi truck full of supplies for the people of Louisiana. It's reported that he donated $100,000 to a church for the purpose of assisting the community that was struck by the flooding and the extreme weather. And so apparently it's reported also that the people who were there were glad to see him. He was a morale booster in a time of need, and that's what a leader does. They lead by example. They do. They don't say what they do. They just do, and that's what Donald Trump did. Also, he did bring cameras with him. There are people on the ground who, everyone's got a camera these days, and so by bringing his presence there, he highlighted what was happening around him in Louisiana. That's also what a leader does, directs the public gaze, brings humanity and importance, elevates the importance of a situation so it cannot be ignored or overlooked or dismissed or twisted or misconstrued. What happened 11 years ago during Katrina, we should not allow to happen today. And so hopefully Donald Trump's presence has served that purpose to make sure people understand that this is an important region, that Louisiana is important, and of course the people there are important to all of us. Jill Stein arrived as well. She highlighted climate change. She talked to the people. She assisted the community, Denham Springs, which is a little bit northeast of Baton Rouge, which was also hit by the flooding. It's been flooding. I mean, it's been raining there like almost 2 weeks, and this is Louisiana, southern Louisiana, right on the Gulf. That region where there's the Gulf on one side, and then there's a huge inland lake, which is Lake Pontchartrain. It's huge. And then there's smaller lakes all around, and rivers and swamps and bayous and creeks and ponds everywhere. And so 2 weeks of rain will do a number on that region. But hopefully there'll be some slackening soon. But in the meantime, Jill Stein did something very important, and this is along the lines of what Spike Lee did. He turned the camera's gaze onto the people and let them speak about what was happening. So that's what Jill Stein did. She provided a means of communication where the people, the residents there, could speak of their own reality and tell their own story and their own narrative. They were allowed to highlight the needs and the occurrences and the situation for themselves, since they know best of what is necessary to move forward. Rather than a media narrative being established for them, they spoke for themselves, and Jill Stein helped provide the means for them to do that so they could project not only to her supporters but beyond into the media of what happened and what is happening and what should be done to solve the problems and the crisis. So Jill Stein and Donald Trump showed up. Hillary Clinton did not. She released a statement saying something like she didn't want her campaign to be a distraction from whatever. I really don't understand what that really means. This is Hillary Clinton. And when she says things, it's usually in lawyer speak, so she can always backtrack and change and flip and modify. And so what she says, it's almost meaningless because it can mean everything and nothing at the same time. But again, it's a morale booster for someone who is suffering. They're in a time of need. For someone to actually show up, that means you think that they are important enough to bring yourself to their location and then bring other people's gaze and their attention, their time, and their focus to what is happening. It's a morale booster, and that's what a leader does. And, again, I said in previous videos, you have to watch what is done as opposed to what is said when it comes to Hillary Clinton, because what she says means anything, everything, and then of course it means nothing because of that. What does she do? Where did Hillary Clinton spend her time? Where was she directing the public gaze? What was important to her presence? She was doing fundraisers. I would say that Gary Johnson, I'm not entirely sure at this time of his location and his reaction to what occurred in Louisiana. So I can't really comment on that. If I do find out, I'll put a note in this video to just explain what it looks like was happening with his campaign as it relates to Louisiana and his response. I will say that that is one of the issues that I do have with the libertarian platform, where they're saying we need less government, people need to take care of themselves. You know, that's why, unfortunately, I do respect him as a person, but the libertarian philosophy I can't abide by. I do, understand they're socially liberal, fiscally conservative, which is what the Republican Party describes itself as. But I would say that the libertarian is even more so. And the philosophy to me seems to be, I have mine, now you go get yours. You go take care of yourself. If I'm taking care of myself, why should I spend time taking care of you? If I can take care of me, then you can take care of you. There's no provision for the weak, the infirm, the extremely young, and the extremely old among us. And that's what I can't abide by. The everybody's in it for themselves. And sometimes it does take a government to handle a situation of this size and magnitude. It's not a private company that can be trusted actually to use its resources fully to assist the people. This is partly why the infrastructure in Louisiana looks like it does in the first place. Selfishness and greed. The money that needed to be put into the infrastructure to pump the water out, to strengthen the canals and the bridges and the roads and the levees and the water systems, the public works. It's been neglected to the point that things like this are still occurring, and it's not right that it does with the technology that we have today. There should be better water management. What's happening to the money? And back to Hillary Clinton, the way that she conducted herself, and she and Bill, when it came to what happened in Haiti and how they treated the people in Haiti, how they took the money that people wanted to donate to the people in Haiti and they redirected that money to their friends and to the Clinton Foundation. And Haiti is still suffering the effects of that earthquake. Poverty, sickness, insufficient buildings, hospitals, schools. They took that money, the Clintons, and kept it for themselves and gave it to their friends. They robbed the poor and gave to the rich. And so, if this is how Hillary Clinton is managing things at the Clinton Foundation, if that's how they treated the people in Haiti, how do they plan to treat the people in the United States when they ascend to back to the highest office in our nation, the White House? Are we going to be Haiti too? Are they going to take our money and just give it to their friends and to their, newly named Clinton, Clinton Point 2.0 Foundation? They can't be trusted. And so I think when it comes to leadership, it is a requirement. You have to actually like people. You have to respect people. People from every social class, of every physical capability, mental capability. They are people. And if you're a leader, you have to recognize that everyone is not like you. Some people are different and have different capabilities, different ways of looking at the world. They come from different places. Some people are so narrow-minded that if you're not like me, then you're not as good as me. And a leader of this nation can't be that, where everyone's from somewhere. So that's how I view that. I mean, it was a test of leadership, and Donald Trump and Jill Stein showed up. That was half the battle right there. And when the second half of the battle is, what did you do when you showed up? And then now, what are you doing afterwards? Jill Stein's going on to the National Press Club to tell people about what happened there and what she thinks about it. So that's after battle, and then she's finishing up. So she talked to the local Green Party down in Louisiana, the Louisiana Green Party, and so they ushered her in. So she came in through an organization already on the ground in Louisiana, and then they guided her around to the residence. So I think she was very focused on doing things in order and in a proper way. And from what I see on the video, they were very glad to see her and have an opportunity to speak to the rest of us in the nation of what's going on down there. So Barack Obama is due to be in Louisiana today, again, Tuesday, August 23rd. And we'll see what he has to say about things. I'm not going to go into what I think about that, but I'll just say that it's good for the candidates who did show up in a timely manner, the presidential candidates, and how they assisted. So Jill Stein actually took the time to focus on the people, of course, and she spoke with them, and then they were allowed to speak, to the rest of us through video. But Jill Stein did also speak of the climate change scenario and how that affected the weather system, not only in Louisiana, but also in California, the extreme fires, wildfires that are raging there. And so she's saying that it's climate change that's likely affecting the extreme weather that's occurring, the flooding. The problem is also exacerbated by the infrastructure. And it's, partly a focus on our fossil fuel industry. Louisiana is a heavy oil and gas location. There's lots of industry down there. There's oil and gas, of course, the fossil fuels, which unfortunately have toxic waste that enters the ecosystem, the water, the air, the soil. There's also fishing industries and sugar manufacturing, and then rice manufacturing down in Louisiana, probably some other things. But, for people who say, well, why do we live there? Well, someone's got to run these industries. They won't run themselves. There's an ecosystem that's necessary to a lot of manufacturing production down in Louisiana. There's a lot going on. It's, of course, near the coast, and so there's importing and exporting. So there's not only national interest in what happens in Louisiana and the ports there right on the Gulf, but there's also international interest. It's a very important place in the United States. It has to be maintained, which means people, and then also the people have to be taken care of. The environment and the ecosystem have to be taken care of, and then the industries as well. So that means infrastructure, that means investments, and that means caretaking of that situation. It doesn't run itself. It has to be monitored and it has to be taken care of. Jill Stein is proposing the Green New Deal to solve many of the issues. The Green New Deal is creating jobs through economic growth, through infrastructure strengthening in a green way, declining money, time, and energy on fossil fuels, which would assist with the toxic waste in the environment, and then also with the allocation of money and resources to the continent of Africa, where our nation is slaughtering those citizens, those nationals on the African continent in order to obtain dominance over their natural resources so we can have them. Jill Stein is saying, well, we have sun, wind, water, and energy. We can refocus our energy policy on things that cause less harm to our environment, the people, on this nation, this continent, and then others. And then also whatever energy harvesting that we're doing here, such as oil harvesting in the Gulf and off the coast of wherever, California, Texas, energy harvesting that's destroying the environment and aggravating all of these situations. So that was Jill in Louisiana. She's at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. today, and hopefully people are listening to what she has to say about various things. Restoring the infrastructure, the ecosystem, cleaning up the rivers and the waterways, restoring the wetlands and the forests, and just very much taking care of the waterways down there. So she's saying that the Green New Deal is a solution to this, to get our younger generation out of debt, to provide jobs. She wants to do an emergency jobs program to address the climate change and just do an emergency transition to 100% renewable energy. She says it's doable, and I believe her that it can be done. It was done under FDR, which is what established much of the infrastructure that we still have today that really needs to be updated. And it's time to do that. So, I think it's a worthwhile solution that perhaps should be looked into. And hopefully people will listen to what she has to say at the National Press Club.